this very special conversation. This is news from the aviation space, and I have a very special guest with me today. Captain Anny Divya is joining me. For those who don't know her, she is the youngest Boeing 777 pilot and much more as far as her profile is concerned. And today she's been kind enough to take our time to join us to try and understand what her journey has been. Did she always want to become a pilot? And most importantly, why do we still continue to see a big gap as far as gender representation in India is concerned? Captain, thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us here. I want to first begin by understanding, before we talk about what all you've achieved in the last 15 to 20 years, let's begin when you were a child. Was this always a dream or did it nurture somewhere later in life?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me here. And yes, it's been a long journey from where I started to where I am today. And yeah, it's my childhood dream to be in the sky. What I do every day now has been my dream always. It's my first love. I have many dreams. Even now, I have many dreams. But this is the first one which I'm living. And secondly, yeah, I've been in aviation for 2 decades now. Started my journey after finishing my 12th, and then I went to flying school. Then along with flying school, I've done my BSc aviation, and with job I've further studied. I've also done LLB, and in aviation I've joined in Air India, started flying as first officer on 737s. Then I came on 777s as first officer,
Yeah.
and then I got my command on right to left on 777 7 years back. So it's been a long journey and a beautiful one. As a young pilot into an airline to a senior captain now has been a amazing journey.
You know, Captain, I was reading about your life somewhere, and you said that the challenges were not just in terms of bridging the gender gap in the aviation space, but your own challenges. Like you have had very humble beginnings, and there was a language barrier when you moved cities. People used to mock you for, not correct English. Could you talk to us about the challenges? Because that becomes your stepping stone in the kind of success that you've seen later in life.
Surely, because I think a lot of us, not only me, do face these issues who come from smaller places where in India, English is not a normal speaking language. We have a lot of local languages, a lot of dialects, and so we all have different accents when where all we come from. It definitely affects the way we speak. And but in a lot of places, they really, there's nothing wrong in any accent, but I think some people look at it as maybe not mature enough. Sometimes people make fun of, and obviously being a teenager, all those things, I think a lot of people face those issues. And I did face some of those in the beginning of my career when I started, but I'm glad I went through it because that made me only better. When people laugh at you, you learn and you become better, so it made me better. So yeah, I started learning, and here I am where I am.
So, Captain, let's now understand how was your first experience when you first got into the cockpit? What flight was that? What aircraft was it? How was the experience when you were told that you're going to be in command as far as the cockpit is concerned?
So, firstly, we don't start as commander. It's a long journey to
Yeah,
become a commander, especially with the aircraft I am flying. I'm flying
sure.
Boeing 777, is the largest twin jet aircraft in the world. So that's a long journey. Initially, we start with like a single engine aircraft. I flew TB-20. A lot of people also start with Cessnas. TB-20 is the executive aircraft with four-seater aircraft. That was my first aircraft which I started flying, and I've been waiting to be in sky from my childhood. And first time when I entered the cockpit is when I started to learn to fly. I've never been in an aircraft before that.
Hmm.
So imagine all my life from my childhood to when I'm 17, I'm only looking at sky and I want to be there one day. I didn't even know like the thrill of totally becoming a pilot or even getting a job or command
Yeah,
at that moment. All I knew is I wanted to be in sky. To
yeah.
experience that for the first time, I think the first time I went in air and came back, I was flying all day. Even after coming back, I was feeling as if I'm still in the sky. Even in my sleep, I was in sky that day.
Yeah,
It's
so
an
this is
unforgettable
interesting,
memory.
as you say, that you had no prior experience to even seeing inside the aircraft, to finally being told that you're actually going to be, whether it was a smaller aircraft or whether it was a smaller road, but just that experience was also happening all together for the first time. Captain, just going back, and I know I'm just going back in time, a lot of people don't know how harsh the training itself is. Could you talk to us about the training process of how rigorous was it? And did you see gender being a part of that training process? Did it become a hindrance as far as your accomplishments were concerned, at least as far as the training process was concerned?
So regarding training is concerned, it's very different at different stages of life. When you start, it's completely different. You're trying to get your solo flight first, and
Hmm.
then there is a phase where you're really preparing to get a job. So you're studying a lot on ground. To you become a first officer, that's when you start training for the jet aircrafts. Is completely a different experience. You're in different environment. You start stepping out of your comfort zones in many levels. So process is a lot, and to getting a command, the most rigorous one is getting a command, because
Yeah.
you have so many people's life in your hand. Like, even as first officer, you're continuously training for so many years to be there one day.
Hmm.
And of course the last stage, then it's like totally like you go for it, like you put in all for it, like whatever been you
Hmm.
doing for years, every stage you put in all, and then for one day to get command, you've been putting that effort and energy all
Sure.
your life.
Yeah.
You're learning on every flight, every day. You're learning from your commanders what they're doing, how they're making decisions to be there one day.
No, but I was asking you, did gender play a role? Did you think that because you were a woman, maybe you took longer, or people didn't want to take you seriously, or your male peers went ahead faster? Did that comparison ever cross your mind?
So it is very different. When I joined aviation to now, there were lesser women overall in airline. Like I was the only girl in my batch to join the airline. But Air India is very supportive of women as pilots always.
Hmm.
So I didn't find too much of a gender gap as such in the work profile. I honestly did well, and my airline and colleagues were very supportive of doing it. But
Hmm.
you will find a lot of difference when it comes to when you're giving instructions as a girl, and especially somebody's younger. So
Yeah.
some people can have issue taking those instructions or
Sure.
taking you seriously.
Hmm.
These are the things I think we'll all face in any job and any profiles.
Yeah.
As a woman, you're also into travel job, and there will be male who will be much elder to you, and you may be giving instructions. So maybe there are times when I discuss with people that all of us as a women, we see sometimes it's not as serious as when a man does
Yeah.
it. But of course women are way stronger, we know how to get it done, we have
Yeah.
all roots in us, Durga to Kali. We definitely know how to get the job done. So it's ultimately brings the best out of you in such
Yeah.
environment. To now we have lot of women, I think everybody sees women, so now it's more accepting, they know,
Sure.
okay, if she's saying it, it has to be done, or people
Yeah.
will take you more seriously. So the times are better for women
Yeah.
in all areas, including aviation.
I think that's a crucial point that you're making, that it's more accepting now, because just the sheer number of women who are entering the aviation space are a lot more. So people like you, in a way, have become pioneers to open those avenues for other women as well. But now I want to understand, to your current job, how long has it been with Air India? Where do you see yourself next in the next 10 years?
So it's 18 years with Air India, and I'm a senior commander on Boeing 777. And you also know I'm the youngest woman to command Boeing 777 in the world. I'm looking forward to becoming trainer next. I hope I train the next generations who are coming in on this fleet. And I look forward to working for many more years with Air India. It's been a very good experience. I am what I am today because of the airline.
I want to understand two quick things now. If I had to ask you to pinpoint one specific memory of you being in the cockpit, could it be any flight? Is there a special memory of one particular flight where you just felt that all those years of challenge or all those years of training had finally seen some light of day? Or it could have been a challenging flight also, but that one memory that is like stuck in your head.
How do I explain? I'm living my dream like every day. You know what it feels like. it's like every time I'm going and taking an airplane, you'll feel, wow, today is a flight from New York to Delhi, and I'm the commander of that flight. You know, the feeling is like
Yeah,
every time you walk towards it and you're in uniform and people look up to you, it is amazing. It's beautiful. That is part as far as your career is concerned. But, the part where it's like a childhood dream coming true, I still
yeah,
look into the sky and I'm flying through the clouds and I'm like, wow, this is something I dreamt of and I'm able to do this every day. And
yeah,
it's beautiful up in the sky. You know, we have the most beautiful windows as far as our office concerned. Is the best office on on the planet. So living that is so beautiful every day. And also,
yeah.
so why I can't pinpoint, every day is a different flight. We fly
Sure.
with different colleagues. People
Hmm.
are beautiful. I get to meet a lot of new crew every day. Working with
Yeah,
them is amazing. And we have a lot of senior crew whom we know for years. So every
yeah,
time you're catching up with somebody whom you met after years. So
yeah,
imagine how is it on every flight?
yeah.
It is
It
too
becomes
nice.
another family that you've created for yourself.
Correct. And every time you go on a flight, you're meeting a lot of people whom you met years back.
Yeah.
So it's like so nice. I'm like, wow, we're seeing after so long. And that happens every flight.
Yeah, I can imagine. I also want to understand if you look at the current aviation space, while we've grown leaps and bounds, there are a lot of challenges also, specifically concerns that have been raised by pilots like you, whether these are salary concerns, whether there are working hours, rosters have changed, we're not getting enough rest. What do you feel about those concerns? Recently, we've seen some airlines take their pilots to court. Essentially talking about that there is a supply demand lag that still continues. Is that a real challenge?
I think the times have been very challenging from the time of COVID for everybody. A lot of
Right.
pilots in a lot of places, have lost their jobs. To everybody had to take pay cuts, huge pay cuts. In fact, and for some people it's been more difficult. Some people it is less difficult, but
Hmm.
definitely it's been difficult for everybody in aviation, including airlines have gone through difficult times. That's how, like, even we went through the same. As pilots, yes, we had huge pay cuts, which was difficult. And even though there is demand and supply, there is still that gap which we are looking for to fill in. And I hope there will be enough research done how much rest should be given, if it's being
Hmm.
okay, and if the fatigue factors are being considered. So there's a lot of work on the background which is going on. So hopefully this gap should fill soon, and I'll definitely look forward for that.
Okay. Kevin, thank you so much for taking our time and joining us here.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.